Midweek meeting takes place at Hollywoodbets Greyville on the Polytrack surface, Wednesday the 12th of November 2025, and we've got 8 races carded. With me in studio today is a good friend and colleague, Devon Govender. He's going to go through the 8 races with me and tell us, we're going to tell you what we like and what we don't like. Devon, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. And yourself, Warren?
Yes, all good, thank you. And looking forward to going through the 8 races for the viewers on the show. And of course, you and I are working at Hollywoodbets Greyville tomorrow, so we look forward to that as well. Let's get cracking then and go to the first race on the card, which is the Join www.socialsquad.co.za Open Maiden. It's over 1,600 meters. And you'd want to go onto that website, that user-friendly website, and go and get yourself a share in a racehorse. It's as simple as that. Devon, there is 7 runners at the time of recording. Please, we urge all the punters to check their final scratchings, jockey changes, equipment changes, betting moves before taking your final bets, as this program is recorded way before the race meeting, more than 24 hours before. So please check all of that and take note that it is a pre-recorded show. First race, I'm going to be very short and sweet. Drieland and Punt, we know there's no such thing as a good thing, but Drieland and Punt is not going to get an easier opportunity to get it right. The bookmakers agree because he's priced up at around 4 to 10, so he's the outright first choice. My value in the race, Devon, at odds of around 10 to 1 is number 4, Mount Kennedy, who tries the Polytrack for the first time. Is a bit of a draw strike, was drawn 11 of 14 last time when not persevered with, tailed off. The debut performance was 3.5 lengths off Royal Sword, wasn't the worst run. I'm not prepared to accept that this horse Mount Kennedy after 2 runs is as bad as the form suggests. I think in this field he's the exacta choice, so 1 by 4 from me.
Yes, Warren, no arguments with the first selection there. I'm in the camp of number 1, that is Drieland in Punt from the Dean Caname yard with Craig Zaki aboard. And this opened at around about 4 to 10 and is now trading at around 1 to 3, if I'm not mistaken. There has been some betting support. I've just updated that this morning. So remember, the show is recorded early. Be sure to check your betting updates as well as scratchings and card changes. But for me, I'm firmly in the camp of number 1, Drieland in Punt. Firm first selection, banker in all bets when it comes to exactas, trifectas and quartets, as well as the pick 3s and doubles, etc. I know it's very short. Maybe try and banker this and throw in a few horses for the trifectas and quartets. Maybe a horse like Black Platina, who has been holding some good recent form, is placed in the last 2 starts. Maybe throw that into the exactas and trifectas. But Warren, firm first choice for me, number 1, Drieland in Punt, and it also forms part of the suggested double, which the viewers will be able to see later on as we progress on the show.
Just giving us the numbers for the minor positions. 1 a banker by?
I'm going 1, 6, and then maybe some improvement from number 4, that is Mount Kennedy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, 1 a banker by 6, 7, 4 for Devon, 1 a banker for me, and 4 Mount Kennedy. I think is a massive improver in this type of field. That's race 1. We're all in the camp of Drieland and Punt.
We're on to race number 2 now. That will jump at 13:15. It's the bet with a tote maiden plate for fillies and mares, and it's over 1,200 meters. And this is a very tricky contest, with number 4, Queen Fen, being the form horse from the Darryl Moore yard with Atandiwe Magudla aboard. Ran a cracking second in the last start to Austrian Beauty, and this will have a bright chance in this contest. There's not too much of strong form to work with. I say that with all due respect. Hence, I'll be leaning towards the unraced runner, that is number 8, Spirit of Shimla. I know the comment says will need the experience, but it's not going to take too much to win a race of this nature. I say that with all due respect. And it's got Craig Zaki aboard for Dean Caname. Of course, it's a 3-year-old daughter of Vercingetorix. And I'm leaning towards number 8 in a very tricky contest from number 4, Queen Fen. Warren, what do you like in race number 2?
Devon, you know, interesting that you've gone with Spirit of Shimla for Dean and Craig and Fred Krabbier. just obviously lack of opposition, but you mentioned that comment. Just repeat that comment again from the stable.
Trainer comment says we'll need the experience.
28 to 10 is the price of Spirit of Shimla, and the betting's been out since yesterday, and it's been 28 to 10, and not 1 rand has come for the horse at this point in time.
Yes.
Again, we're recording the show way before the race meeting. That's why we urge you. Spirit of Shimla could start 8 to 10, or she could start 4 to 1. We've got to keep a close eye on the betting, which we do. And we will do that for you on Tuesday at race time. But yeah, I agree. She won't have to be too good to make a winning debut. Queen Fen banging at the door. She's going to win soon. Austrian Beauty just denied victory in the shadow of the post last time. Time in Paris. That form line has sparked up nicely a little bit. Time in Paris. Cartel Queen, Wendy Whitehead stables a little quiet by their high standards, but we all go through quiet patches. She'll be back. Her horses are there and thereabouts, and they'll start winning lots of races soon. So Cartel Queen's got to be respected. And then Pink Lace from the Mark Dixon stable, Tristan Godden rides. We have a share in her, and she showed tremendous improvement from run 1 to run 2. But it was a very weak field where she improved, Devon. She does meet a very weak field again, so we are expecting, absolutely, she's progressing well, she's working well, and we're expecting another improved run. So Pink Lace could certainly go close. Levitator, Quartet Chance. It's a weak race. It's a weak race, and I'm actually surprised I'm giving it so much airtime. Selection would probably be 4 Queen Fen. The stable's in a good space. Huge respect for our horse Pink Lace, and then Spirit of Shimla. I agree with you. If she's got half some ability, she should be able to win on debut. But the stable do say it will need the run, and the betting market is stable. There's no fireworks yet.
Another horse that opened at around about 3 to 1, Warren, is the other first timer. That is number 7, Are You Ready, from the Tony Riverland yard with Matthew Thackeray aboard, and the trainer comment is will likely be green. But another one that's not completely out of the race because of the depth of form. So I'll be keeping a close eye on number 7, Are You Ready. We'll go into all bets, in my opinion, trifectas, quartets, etc. Does have a beautiful pedigree as well, Warren.
Okay, the pedigree certainly is there for Mary Lally and Robert Bloomberg. My numbers for the first leg of the place accumulator: 4 Queen Fen, 6 Pink Lace, and 8 Spirit of Shimla. Your numbers, Mr. Governor?
8, 7, and 4. That is number 8, Spirit of Shimla, from number 7, Are You Ready, followed by number 4, Queen Fen.
Devon's going for the first timers, and he could be onto something because the form there is there for all to see, and these first timers won't have to be too good to make a winning debut. Welcome back to the studio for the debate on race number 3, which is the Lucky Fish Chili Heat Open Maiden. It's going to be run over 1,200 metres at 10 to 2, 13.50, and it kicks off the first leg of the big one, the Pick 6. No scratchings or jockey changes at the time of this discussion. Betting, just having a quick look, 3.5 to 1 Roy's Blossom, who debuted at odds of 100 to 1, Devon, and now is 3.5 to 1. You've got to ask yourself how fancied was she on debut? Was that a bit of a spook run? Was it an expected run? But the market says maybe it wasn't expected because she did start at odds of 100 to 1. She was unlucky at the 450 metre mark. She had to check. Did Roy's Blossom. Then number 5 Ziphos is 13 to 10. 7 Fine Dining is around 3 to 1. So that's what the betting says early. Ziphos keeps running second. That's my worry. I don't know if he's going to get an easier opportunity than he gets today or tomorrow, depending whenever you're watching this show. Giddish Dukat was the apprentice last time, so it's a jockey strike now to Callan Murray. He's surely got to be the one to beat, but in saying that, I said that in his last 3 starts, and he's found one better on the day, so that does worry me a little bit. Gorgeous Bomb has been costly to follow for me personally, but I'm going to give this filly another chance. Her penultimate run, she ran 3rd to Queen Braganza. She goes okay on the poly. She gets 54 kilograms, a neat draw. I'm not prepared to accept that this filly can't go close in a race of this nature. So, Devon, my numbers 5 and 3.
Yes, Warren, touching on number 5, that is Ziphos, excuse me, from the Frikkie Kraling yard with Callan Murray aboard. The rider's in top form, and I believe this horse is overdue for the win. Yes, has run second in the last 3 starts, but may have just met the right field here, so I think this could be the right one. This will be my first selection from number 1, that is Roy's Blossom from the Com Naidu yard with Craig Zaki aboard. There is improvement to come, but the last run was over 1,400 meters, now drops in trip to 1,200 meters, and was 100 to 1 excuse me, was 100 to 1 when running 3rd in the last start, and I'm sure would have tightened up with that run, this 4-year-old daughter of Time Thief. So we'll be in the firing line, but I'm willing to give number 5 Ziphos one more chance.
Ziphos surely is a place accumulator banker. Is he a pick 6 banker?
No, I would have to throw in number 1 Roy's Blossom as well.
Okay, so that's race number 3, the Open Maiden, for Devon and I. 5 by 1 Devon, 5 by 3 for me. If it's Gorgeous Bomb had to win, I certainly wouldn't be shocked, but I am expecting Ziphos to get it all right, come this race meeting, the 3rd race. So that is the discussion for race 3. Let's move along and talk about race 4.
Moving on to race number 4 on the program, it's Join the Passion, www.racecoast.co.za. It's a C Stakes, and this is quite a competitive race with plenty of horses who are holding some solid form. Warren, my first selection, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. There are a lot of horses holding decent form here, but I'm going to be sticking with the consistent number 7 Bank Street from the Informed Stuart Ferry yard with an informed rider aboard, Tristan Godden. And if you look at the last 4 runs, it's always been in the frame. The last start was an absolute cracker behind Valelo, and this is going to be my narrow first selection. I know there is a lot of horses with form in this contest, the likes of number 4 Ella de Orange from the Com Naidu yard with the Dazan Low aboard, who takes the 4 kgs off the back. Number 6 Magic Surprise from the Doug Campbell yard with Calvin Habib aboard, and he's riding a crest of a wave at the moment, is Calvin Habib, another horse that is holding solid form. But my first selection, number 7 Bank Street, opened at around about 4 to 1, could be some value in a very competitive race.
Devon, just 1 or 2 other horses that I want to touch on that you haven't mentioned. 1 Preemptive Strike, course and distance specialist. Gate 1 can never be ignored, although he is testing our patience for that next win, 53 weeks to be exact. Yes. Bemanesque won very well out in the Highveld last time, beating Captain Efficient, drew off in the closing stages. He could find it enjoyable on the poly track, the surface that he tries for the first time, and if he were to follow up, I wouldn't be shocked. You've touched on Ella de Orange, you've touched on Magic Surprise, and then over the page, even a horse like Panetti's ultra consistent, but he doesn't form part of my first 2. 2 horses were sent to this province to run on the poly track. Their connections thought that they would be suited to the poly track. And my oh my, how right they have been, because Bank Street was one of them. He's been at this surface 4 times for 2/3, a second and a victory. Yes. And the other horse that was sent up for the surface is United Nation. Now, United Nation's had 2 runs on the surface and is unbeaten. Daryl Moore's stable's in mustard form. This horse, United Nation, is in fact 3 from 3 on the poly, and I couldn't make up my mind between 7 Bank Street and 9 United Nation.
It's so competitive.
It is competitive. So I think, for exacta purposes, you going the way of 7 Bank Street, well then let me go the way of 9 United Nation and suggest that some boxed exactas could be the play. I do think these 2 will fight it out, but as you've alluded to, it's a competitive race. But 7 for you, 9 for me, some boxed exactas could be the way to go.
100% correct. If you look closely at the form for race number 4, it is very competitive. You can make a case for majority of the field, but Warren's first selection is number 9 United Nation, and I'll be in the camp of number 7 Bank Street for the informed Stuart Ferry with the Tristan Godden aboard.
Race 5 on the card is the Bet with Colossus, www.tote.co.za, middle stakes, over 1,800 metres, and the race will run at 2 minutes past 3, so just off the top of the hour, 3 o'clock, race number 5. Looking at the comments from the official winning form, Duncan Howell's comment on El Rey VN is the following. He says, if I can find the right page, that El Rey VN has a neat draw and a light weight and can give a good account of himself. And I agree with that comment. He's a horse that's clearly got some ability. El Rey VN. She's a Bomber. Devon is the filly taking on, or one of the fillies taking on the boys. The other filly is Plum Pudding. She's a Bomber's run in some huge races, strong fields, and acquitted herself very well. She ran third last time to Ice Rain. Will she need one more run to tighten up? This is her second run back from a layoff. I don't know, but I still think she'll be very competitive. Plum Pudding has got to be one of the leading contenders, and the other horse that I like is Afropolitan. Now, El Rey VN is Duncan Howells and Hollywood. Afropolitan is Gareth Van Zyl and Hollywood. Sean Veal, I don't know if he can do 53.5. He can ride light, I'm sure. But the fact of the matter is that he's riding Afropolitan, so I think we've got to read something into that. My numbers in no particular order, Devon: 1 El Rey VN, 2 She's a Bomber, 3 Plum Pudding, and 7 Afropolitan. How do you see it?
Yeah, I quite like the chances of number 3 Plum Pudding from the inform Andre Nelyard with an inform rider aboard Calvin Habib. If you dig really deep in the form line on the 18th of June, my apologies, 18th of June, this horse ran an absolute cracker beating Sign of Fate. I know that's going way back in the form lines, but this horse has been holding some consistent form and will be my firm first choice. In fact, I would make this horse tough to beat here, number 3 Plum Pudding, cracking second in the last start to Go Grayson Go, and this will be my first selection. Huge respect for number 2, She's a Bomber, who ran exceptionally well behind Ice Rain in the last start. And that will have a bright chance here with Rachel Vinegar aboard, taking the 1.5 kgs off the back. And also number 1 El Rey VN, positive comments there from the Duncan Howells yard with Cabello Matsanyani aboard. Cracks the ace draw, lightweight, will be in the firing line. But I'll be sticking with number 3 Plum Pudding, opened at 2-1, and I think that's a very, very good price, Warren.
Okay, race number 5, the middle stakes. Let's move along swiftly to race 6.
Moving on to race number 6 on the program that jumps at 15:35, www.GallopTV.co.za, Class 4, and this is another competitive race on the card, and leaning towards number 7, One Path. You're going to see that slide coming up on screen now, and this is from the Frank Robinson yard with Craig Zaki aboard, and Craig Zaki's got some good rides on the day, Warren, and this horse has run 2 cracking seconds, and I think overdue for the win. But having said that, it's another competitive race where you can make a case for a number of runners, and well, the betting says it all, because number 7 One Path is trading at around about 4-1, and I'm just there's actually 3 horses that opened at 4-1. Number 3 Alana, number 6 Miss Twinkle, and number 7 One Path. That tells you how competitive the race is.
And you look at the statistics, Craig Zaki and Frank Robinson, they're running at a 29% win strike rate and a 53% play strike rate. So if you're a stats man, that'll get you excited. She's a beautiful filly, is One Path. And yeah, I've been following her for a long time. She has to have a massive winning chance. The value for me in the race is a horse that, firstly, are you an anti-post punter or any punter?
No, any punter.
So if you find something the day before that's a nice price, you happen to have a tickle, and yeah, I'm not quite sure how to work it all out, because when I have a bet anti-post the day or two before, they very seldom win. But then if I select the horse and wait for the race day and have a bet on race day, they win. But that's just little superstitions, I suppose, that we all have, or might have. But the point I'm making is that number 4 Safari Lodge is my value in the race. I think this filly is a huge runner. She comes from a bang-in form stable. She gets Calvin Habib. You said how good he was riding. He's neatly drawn on this filly. She's got 54.5. That last effort behind Grand Occasion was good. She was staying on nicely. It was her second run up. And I think third run after a rest now, she's going to be cherry ripe. And then I was toying with the idea, do I have my little tickle now or wait? She was 14-1. I see there's already been one claim into 12-1. So there's already been a claim on Safari Lodge. I think I'm going to wait for race day. And whatever price she is or whatever price she is on the tote, I'll have a few rand each way. But my first selection, like you, is number 7, One Path. And my strong each way selection is horse number 4, Safari Lodge. I think she's going to run a cracker.
Well, you heard it from Warren. He likes number 4, Safari Lodge. That could represent some good value at around about 12.5-1 as it stands. But the narrow first selection from both of us is number 7, One Path, at around about 4-1. It's a very competitive race. If you look at a horse like number 3, Alana, that ran a cracking second in the last start behind Ice Rain. Number 2, Sign of Fate, another one that's been holding form lens-wise, has always been in the frame in recent starts. Then number 1, Sasha's Dream from the Doug Campbell yard with Rachel Vinegar aboard, ran a good second in the last start behind Miss Twinkle, who takes a place in this race. That is number 6, also opened at 4-1. And last 2 wins going for 3 on the bounce. There's plenty of form to work with in race number 6. But if you ask us to nail our colours to the mask, we both like number 7, One Path, and Warren likes number 4, Safari Lodge, as the value in race number 6.
Welcome back to the studio, and we are now going to talk about the penultimate race on the card, which is the 7th race, a Class 5 event where the benchmark is 70. It's over 1,600 meters, 10 past 4. And Devon, again, this race, we mentioned that there are a couple of races where we've gone a bit light, and we think there are easier fields, if there ever is such a thing, but then you get into Class 5s, etc., where it gets a bit more tricky and a bit more complex and competitive, but that's just the way it is. So this Class 5, a horse that interests me is number 1, Banzai Pipeline, who is a gelding that's going to carry 53 kgs because of the 4 kilograms off from Design Low. It does worry me that in his last 2 starts, this horse has been a bit slow out. Yeah. He wasn't always slow out. It's just something that he has been in his last 2 starts. But what interests me is that he was as high up as an 83 at one stage. He's now running off a 64, and his last run showed that he could be ready for another victory. He is a 6-time winner. 4 of those have been on the poly, so he could be some value. Number 2, Spana Rafir from the stable of Mike and Matthew de Kock. Thumped Tickerlocks, but it was Tickerlocks. That's my only concern. They've rated him at an 84. He could be end up being way better than 84. So healthy respect for Spana Rafir. And then 3, Ultra Quick from the stable of Addison Wright is a horse that is going to notch up another victory soon, and it could well be today or tomorrow, depending when you're watching the show. Town Cry has let me down a little. I don't want to write him off in 2 runs, but his last 2 runs have been a little concerning, because when he won in the manner of a very good horse, but he might still have some improvement to come, Town Crier. But for me, 1, 2, 3 in that order.
Yeah, this is another competitive race, Warren. I'm not sure if you've got the betting open there next to you. Just taking a look at the betting, it shows that number 2, Spana Rafir, opened at around about 72-100. That is 7-10, and is now 5-4. So has taken a slight drift in the market. And my first selection, Warren, I'm in agreement with you. I do like number 1, Banzai Pipeline from the Ace Gate, with the apprentice aboard claiming the 4 kgs. And this horse has been dropping in the ratings. And if you dig deep in the form line, this horse ran 4.4 lengths behind Okavango. Prior to that, ran 5.45 lengths behind Averny King. Now, Healthy respect for the favourite number 2, Spine Raffier, because the manner in which he got the job done was quite impressive on the poly track. And Callan Murray is in top form. The stable of Matthew and Mike de Kock in top form. This horse looks very, very progressive and could be just about anything in this field. So huge respect to number 2, Spine Raffier. But my first selection, I'm going to be in the camp of number 1, Banzai Pipeline for Garth Puller and Dazan Low. I mean, those form lines were in 4.4 lengths behind Okavango, 5.45 lengths behind Averny King. Could be good enough to win a race of this nature.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And Banzai Pipeline trading at around odds of 6-1. So there could be some value that you and I have found here. And I agree with you. We're not saying Spine Raffier can't win. I mean, we're not saying that at all. He could blow this field away. But I'd like to see a bit more before we go. You know, 6-1. That looks a bit more inviting. The 6-1 Banzai Pipeline. Just before we wrap up, could you just repeat? You said what price was Spine Raffier?
Yeah, I'm just refreshing at the moment, and it opened at around about 7-2. I'm not sure if you've got the betting open there, and it's now trading at 5-4.
Okay, so that's
what the betting shows. And just one more horse before we close it up for race number 7 for larger trifectas and quartets.
Yes.
If you look at number 8, Viva Spirit, I know the recent form doesn't really jump out at you, but if you go back in the form lines when this horse finished 2.9 lengths behind Mvelelo, I was in the commentary box that day, and this horse was making up good ground late in the day, and this horse looks to have some speed on, and I think could make the frame again. With Rachel Vinegar aboard taking the 1.5 kgs off, could represent some value for trifectas and quartets, Warren.
Okay, that's another one to add to your quartet permutations, but we're going with a bit of value, 6-1 at the time of recording, Banzai Pipeline.
We're on to race number 8, the lucky last Hollywoodbets Bright Future Sea Stakes, and it's over 1,400 meters, and another competitive contest with a lot of form to work with in race number 8. Let's take a look at the card. Warren, just glancing at the betting market on the fixed odds website for race number 8, another open betting contest with numbers 1, 2, 3 and 7, as well as number 8 trading at around about 5-1 in the fixed odds betting market. That tells you how open this contest is. Excuse me. And I do have a suggested bet for the show, a suggested double or an all to come. And the horse that forms part of that play is number 4, Issy Quishy. Has been holding some good form. I know carries a lot of pudding, 64 kgs. Don't let that put you off. Rachel Vinegar claims the 1.5 kgs off the back. And Warren, just looking at the last run over 1,200 meters when finishing 3 lengths behind Tara Star, this horse looked to be travelling very well coming into the straight, did not get the clearest of passages on that occasion, and was slightly trying to switch the horse. And you know, I believe in this sort of field represents some good value, hence I'm going for the 7-1. 1 or 2 hard luck stories in the last start there. So I believe from barrier gate 4 with Rachel claiming the 1.5 kgs on the back, I'm going to take a chance at 7-1 because overall this horse is holding very good form.
If our selections happen to arrive, we've found a few, we've gone for 1 or 2 favourites, but we've also found a couple of outsiders. If they happen to arrive, we'll be cruising. We can book tickets to go to Mauritius.
Could be in the pound seat.
But on a serious note, with your reasoning with regards to Issy Quishy, absolutely, this gelding, cosily drawn, unlucky last time, you're quite right, inconvenience at a crucial stage, and solid form he brings, he's also brings solid form. They've opted, as you say, to take some weight off using Rachel. She's a very good rider. So, yeah, lots to like about Issy Quishy. And James Rich, who heads up this official winning form publication, has tipped Issy Quishy. So there's lots of boxes ticked with regards to the son of Alado. So absolutely, we'll put that right at the top of our shortlist. What do you make of Kimberly O'Hara from the stable of Mike Miller? Because 3.5 lengths off Golden Rule, a length and a bit off Amor Fati. Those are good efforts. Just his overall form is solid. But 63 weeks since his last win. But I suppose in the meantime, he's dropped from a 90 to a 68.
Yeah, that's encouraging. Another thing that is encouraging is the draw factor there. We all know how important it is to have a good draw at Hollywoodbets Greyville. As well as the rider Tristan Godden, he's in great form. Lengthwise hasn't been too far off the action and must go into a larger pumps. Definitely a horse in with a chance, definitely not out of it. Like I said, the betting says it all, Warren. There's 5 horses that are trading at 5 to 1. That is 1, 2, 3, 7 and 8. Those 5 trading at 5 to 1.
So there's 5 joint, at the time of recording, there's 5 joint favourites, all at 5 to 1. If that doesn't tell you a story, then I'm not sure.
100% correct. If I had to go for an exacta horse, we're going to be taking a big chance here. We're going to be going with number 5. That is, sorry, not number 5. Number 3, Imperial Power. Now that's trading at 5 to 1. Has been holding good form as well. Ran a cracking second in the last start to Gotta Go Eddie. And it's got Damien Pillay aboard, who's been riding a few winners recently. He claims the 4 kgs off the back. So I'll be taking boxed exactas with numbers 4 and 3. In that particular order, that's the way I like them.
Last horse that I want to discuss before we go on and talk about your suggested bet. King's Island, number 9. Yeah, I know it's been 51 weeks and he's testing our patience, but I know that the stable think he's a horse that's got some ability. He's a 3-time winner from just 26 starts, and all 3 of those wins have been on the poly. His penultimate start was a cracker behind El Rey Vien. Last time he was drawn 12 of 12. He's drawn 9 of 10 today. So that doesn't help really. But that was a good run behind Canal Scarter 2 weeks ago. Where does he fit in your picking order? He's 13 to 1.
Yeah, he's got to go into larger trifectas and quartets, Warren. I'm glad that you touched on the fact that the horse ran 3rd to El Rey Vien, because look who was aboard on that occasion. Dazan Low, he's back aboard. He knows the horse well. He's taking the 4 kgs off the back and could represent some value for the placings. Another horse that we have to mention as well is number 7, that is Komamori from the Garth Puller yard. Ran a good second behind Umvelelo in the last start, and with Sipasi/Lengwa aboard, and that could certainly be in the firing line as well.
Okay, we can't go on any longer because, as you've heard, there's a lot of horses that joint favourites at 5 to 1. That's how competitive it is. My closing statement is respect 1 Kimball O'Hara and 9 King's Island as some, as lurkers or as each ways, or call it what you like. Devon's in the camp of 4, Issy Quishy Quishy, and certainly a horse that could win. That's race 8, but I think what you can do is try and include as many in the last race in your exotics as your budget will allow, because it simply is that competitive. That's a wrap from us. Next segment will be Devon Govender taking you through his suggested play of the day, so take note.
Well, we're on to the last segment of the show where I'm going to give you my suggested bet. And I do have a suggested double. That slide's going to come up on screen any moment now. It starts in the first race and closes in the last race. It starts in race number 1, and it's in the form of number 1, Drieland en Punt from the Dean Cannemeyer yard with Craig Zaki aboard. And this horse has got the natural scope for improvement in this field. I don't think meets the strongest of opposition, and I say that with all due respect. And I'm expecting number 1, Drieland en Punt, to take an absolute power of beating. That is number 1 from the Ace Gate for Dean Cannemeyer and Craig Zaki. Moving on to the last race on the program, that is the second leg or the closing leg of the suggested double or all to come win bet. I'm going with number 4, Ishi Quishy Quishy from the Allison Wright yard with Rachel Vinegar aboard, who takes the 1.5 kgs off the back. This horse has run some cracking races on the poly track. If you dig deep in the form line, has finished 2nd to Rollo the Viking, 2nd to She's a Machine on the poly track, 1 on the poly track on the 10th of September, beating Rainbow Reward by 0.6 lengths. Has been holding form. The last run ran 5th, but I believe was a little bit unlucky. Looked to be travelling very well coming into the straight, did not find the clearest of passages on that occasion. Back to 1400 metres on the poly track. This is a very open looking contest, but I'm going with the value because this horse is trading at around about 7-1, and that will form part of the second leg or last leg of the suggested double. That is number 4, Ishi Quishi Quishi. So the suggested double or all to come win bet, race 1, number 1, Drieland en Punt, and we're going to close it off with the lucky last, race 8, number 4, Ishi Quishi Quishi. So that's a wrap from myself, Devon Governor. That's the suggested bet, and if you're playing this double come Wednesday the 12th of November, good luck to you.